Hello everyone, it's Simmuz here. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we are going to talk about the reward events for The Sims 4. But before jumping into the video, as always, if you're interested in my content, leave a like, subscribe to my channel because it really helps me out and it tells the algorithm of YouTube that you like this content and you will see me again, which is very nice. But now let's jump into it. Let's talk about the reward events of The Sims 4 and what's wrong with them. So we have seen 3 reward events ever since the launch for The Sims 4, and I think it really shows that the Sims team isn't exactly sure how to implement them correctly. Because all 3 of the reward events that we've gotten have been pretty different from one another and honestly inconsistent between them. The first reward event we got this year was at the end of May. I think it was the last 2 days of May, and it ran through the rest of May and June, and it was the Happy at Home login event, and that was the first tryout. So I understand that it wasn't exactly polished as they wanted, but basically what it was is that you were to log in into the game, click the reward, and you will get the item in your game. There was nothing else that you had to do, just open up game, log in, click a button, and you were done. What happened with this event is that there were a lot of issues with it. First and first, they had issues with the fact that the items were already showing up in the game even if they weren't already claimed or they weren't unlocked at all by the person, so it didn't work out very well in that sense. And also they had issues because the items weren't actually saved in your account, they were saved on your computer. So if you were to disinstall the game and reinstall the game or change computer for any reason, you would lose the items that you got for this reward events. So it was definitely very rough around the edges. Not only wasn't very interactive, I don't think people really cared for it either. The items that we got weren't very interesting or special. They were just recolors or reskins of items that we already had in the game. So that was definitely a rough beginning for the reward events. And I think they really saw that and tried to change direction with the reward events to make them more interactive. The second reward event was way later, in I believe late September to November, and it was the Reaper reward events. The Reaper reward events had you do tasks for the Green Reaper, and you would get obviously points to get the items from the list of items you could unlock. And every week you would get different tasks you had to do, and that was coming out hand in hand with the release of Life and Death as an expansion pack. So it made a lot of sense that you had the Green Reaper event with Life and Death, because Life and Death is all about the Grim Reaper. So it made a lot of sense in that case. At the same time, the reward event wasn't really streamlined either. First thing first, I think the main issue with it is that the tasks that you had to do were very taxing and hard. They weren't really something easy that you could just randomly do, but they were something very specific that you had to take a lot of time to do. You had to plant stuff, you had to make them grow, you had to catch a fish, you had to get your cooking skill up, you had to get your gardening skill up. And I'm not talking a couple of levels to level 10, which is a high level. I know we are talking about a span of time of 6 weeks, I do believe it was, but still, it's a pretty taxing thing to just get an item as a reward, especially for people that either play the game casually, so they just want to come in the game, mess around a little bit, 10-15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, not more than that, and then leave. But also for players that play the game every day or almost every day, because those players, they want to play with their own Sims and do their own stuff. They don't want to just go around and do a bunch of tasks. And the casual players, they really don't have time to, get this skill to level 10 and catch a pretty rare fish to do ambrosia. It was a little hard in that way. the reward that we would get for the Grim Reaper one were also items that you could generally get in the game. Yes, there were special items that you would unlock, and they did fix the issue with the items being already visible. I do believe those were solved, and I do believe that now from the Grim Reaper events forward, all the items are connected to your account, so you will not lose them if you disinstall the game or change computer and all of that. But I feel it wasn't exactly what they were going for still, because of the fact that it was so hard to navigate. The final reward event that we've gotten so far is the Cozy Celebration event, which brought back one of my favorite characters, and I've been asking for her to be back, Jasmine Holiday. Finally, she's back. I'm so happy. She wasn't exactly back in the way that I wanted, because I wanted her to be actually in the game. She was just a little chibi version of her in the corner. But that's fine, Sims. I'll accept her for what she is. But the Cozy Celebration event, I think, hit the nail a little closer to what exactly they want and what they should achieve for the events, the reward events. Because yes, it was more similar to the Grim Reaper event, so you had to do tasks in order to get the points, in order to get the items, but the tasks were a lot easier. So either you had to talk to people, you had to, cook a food that was 1 or 2 difficulty for skill, and you had to interact with a couple items that were usually in game. So it was overall a much easier set of tasks that you had to do. So that means obviously going back to the 2 type of players that plays The Sims 4, casual gamers that come in, randomly play a couple hours. Those people were able to do it because their tasks were pretty easy and easy to understand and follow. And the OG players that play all the time, those tasks were doable because it doesn't take a lot of time to just do them. I also noticed that this time around, all the rewards we were getting were rewards for items that were not in the game at all. Instead, in the Grim Reaper reward event, you would get like seeds, you would get potions, you would get books that already are in the base game, while in this one you would actually get only items that were created for the reward event. So to me that made a lot more sense, also for that reason, especially because coming back to the Grim Reaper events, when you are a casual player that's playing them and maybe only the first week is unlocked, you get one special item, whether it is a cool new eye color or a trait or the gramophone, and also you get a potion and a book. And I'm like, well, I could have just gotten those through the game itself without the need to do the tasks. So it doesn't really make me want to get more of the items. Instead, with the Cozy Celebration, I think they were a little closer to what they need to do, because you would get exactly only items that you wouldn't get in any other way. So that is much more what they need to continue doing. As per what the reward events itself are, I know a lot of people aren't really huge fan of reward events in general, but I fear they're here to stay, so you have to accept them. Reason being, first thing first, The Sims 4 now being a free-to-play game needs to keep it a little fresh for players to come back. Otherwise, players open up the game and then, play a couple hours and then leave the game for a few months. But if you do these reward events, you incite them to come back at least every week. And that means more player base for you, which means more sales. And reward events have been a tactic used in free game and in games in general, to be honest, for a long time. So we really know that they work, and that's why EA is continuing to do the reward events for The Sims 4 and will continue to do them. At this point, you just have to create like 6-7 items. Usually they're like reskinned items from the base game or changed up from other packs, or a little different. But even if you were to create a brand new item, you only have to create a handful for content that lasts for 6 to 8 weeks, so that players come back to the game and see new packs, see new content, and maybe buy something new. So it's really a no-brainer for The Sims team to continue doing the reward events. I do hope that they do fix them completely. there's still people that are having issues with the reward events being buggy, not working, not checking, not giving the items disappearing, the items not working, or they don't show up in your account. Like, there's a lot of issues still with these events. I understand they're still in the tryout phase, and I think with the Cozy Celebration, that was the closest to what their goal is. But I do think that if they still want to implement these and still continue to do them, which I do believe they still want to do them, they have to fix them. They have to fix them, they have to make sure they work, they have to make sure players can actually do them and get the items and do the tasks. And if you are a player that's having issues with the reward events, if you are on PC, make sure you update the game, you repair it if you have, any issues with it. And also if you have any mods, I suggest you take out the mods, play to get the reward, and then you can put them back, or at least make sure all the mods are updated to the latest patch. If you are on console, I know they are taking some measures, and they want some save files as well, I believe, on the EA help. So obviously check out their help section, so hopefully they can fix the bugs that are still hanging around. And yes, The Sims 4 itself is not like a super perfect game, it has a lot of bugs, so I expect some bugs to happen, but if you want to continue doing these events, it makes sense to fix them. So hopefully the Sims team will fix them, because they are here to stay. At this point, I personally don't really care about them either way. I'm really neutral towards them. I do participate in them because they're usually just open up the game, do a task, and you're fine, and I usually just do that anyway. But I do understand that it can be annoying for people, but I am honestly telling you, just accept them, because they're here to stay, because they give a lot of players the reason to come back, and that means more money, and that also means more player base, which looks very good to investors and to the CEOs and all the higher ups in the company, because it looks like, oh my god, see, Sims 4 gets 80 million players a year, which is crazy, and it does, and it's in the top 10 of computer games every year since its release. And it's crazy, because it's like a 10, almost 11-year-old game, which is insane, from a franchise that is 25 years old, which is also insane. Like, it's just a crazy number. So it makes sense that they are going to continue to do them. So what I wanted to do in this video, obviously I hope that the Sims team is going to focus on fixing the reward events, because I do believe we're going to see another reward event coming out soon, unless it's already out as of me posting the video, and we are going to see more reward event in the future and this year. They just work very well. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the reward events. Do you think they're here to stay? Do you think they're a fad and they will, get, forgotten like a lot of other things happen with The Sims? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.